Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me at the back? Am I loud enough? Okay. Um, so first of all, let me thank all of you for having me here to do a talk and a small cooking demo. And special thanks to Brian for organizing it really quick. I mean, I just sent him an email and he responded to it, and I'm here. So I'm just briefly going to introduce myself and tell you about my own journey into this. My name is Mayavi Khandelwal. I live in Mumbai, and I'm a trained psychoanalytical psychotherapist. I've done a course in Mumbai from the Psychoanalytic Therapy and Research Center, which is affiliated to the Tavistock Clinic in London. This is my first trip to London, and I plan to go and visit the Tavistock Clinic too. Now, 4.5 years back, I was suffering from severe diabetes. Anybody who has diabetes or knows somebody who has diabetes? Family, friends, relatives, neighbors, somebody? Then you know what it is like. I mean, my sugars used to be 290 was my fasting sugar, and anywhere between 350 to 450 would be my post-lunch. And there were so many times that they would just go down to 50 and I'd just drop. Besides that, I had severe blood pressure issues. Yeah, 200 by 110, which is really high. And the one time that I went to the doctor and he checked my pressure was even higher than 200, and he said, you need to be hospitalized. And I'm terrified of hospitals, I'm terrified of needles, and I didn't listen to him, and I came home. Back home in India, we can do that. I know you can't probably do something like that here, but I didn't want to go to the hospital. And a friend of mine said she knew somebody, Dr. Pramod Tripathi, in Pune, who would help to reverse diabetes without any medication, just by food. And I thought that was a fantastic idea, because I didn't only have diabetes and blood pressure, I had a long list of ailments. So I also had hypothyroidism, I had eczema and asthma, which used to alternate. So if my asthma went down, my eczema would act up. And between the two, I have taken so much of medication of Derifylin and I can't even remember those names now, but a whole lot of health issues like that. Besides that, I used to have a lot of cervical pain. So at one point, my right side was completely paralyzed. And the only part of my body I could move were my eyeballs. And every single day, there was some doctor's visit, some blood test, some scan, some MRI that I was subjected to. And there came a point when I was so fed up. Normally in the night, before sleeping, I'd say my prayers and thank God for the wonderful day and my children and everything. And I found myself now saying that I wish I don't wake up to this again. I was so fed up. And I'd just given up. So it was something which I couldn't handle anymore. And just going on this plant-based diet, whole plant-based diet, completely changed my life. Dr. Pramod started with it I started with him on the 6th of August 2013, and by the 3rd of September 2013, my medications were stopped for diabetes. My blood pressure medications were stopped in a couple of months after that, and about in 6 to 8 months, stopped taking my thyroid medications too. And you can see my picture. This one is when I was 87 kilos. I had reached 92 is what I know on the scale. After that, I stopped getting on the scale because I was too terrified to see the 3-digit number. So I wouldn't even get onto the scale. I might have been even more than 92. I have no idea. And I couldn't even walk 100 meters. It was difficult to walk because I used to get breathless. I was so heavy that I couldn't move myself. And now I run the 21 kilometers every year. There's a Mumbai marathon that I run. And on an average, I run about 10 kilometers a week. And the kind of energy, I mean, I think it's part of also not just the body feeling good, but also the mind feeling good. When you stop eating animal products, generally. For me, that was something that kind of happened one day. So once I had started with Dr. Pramod's treatment, around 10 to 15 days after that, I was traveling with my family to a place called Mahabaleshwar, which is a hill station near Mumbai. And there is a restaurant over there where everything had cheese. So there were pizzas and soup also had cheese. And I just thought it's okay, you know, I mean, I'll just have a slice of pizza and what's going to happen. And I really didn't know that something like that would happen. I just couldn't stop crying at night. And I kept wondering, I mean, I'm with my family, I'm having a great time, I'm so happy, and why am I crying like this? And I called Dr. Pramod and he said, did you have something with milk in it? I said, yes, I did. So he says, that's what is, you know, what you're going through. This is what probably the cow goes through, and this is what you're going through. And at that point is when I decided I'm never going to touch any animal product anymore. Whether it is in terms of food or whether it is clothes or anything at all. And I think that was the changing point for me, where I just decided that I'm not going to touch any of these. And I think that was the moment that everything just fitted properly. You know, everything just fell into place. I started feeling better in terms of health. I started feeling better emotionally, mentally. Everything was like on an overdrive. I was so active. I had so much energy. Where I couldn't even wake up in the morning, I was getting up at 5 in the morning and going for a walk or a run or something or the other. And I think for me personally, I feel it's part of my spiritual journey that I have become vegan, and this is something that I really feel very strongly about. And now I help people to reverse diseases, to lose weight, to change lifestyles. Also my family, my mother had leukemia. She had chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is a cancer of the blood that happens in the elderly. And the doctor had told us that we would have to start the oral chemo when her count kind of goes to 75 to 80,000. And it had already reached 66,000. And in India, we have a mango season. So all the Indians here know the mangoes are the best fruit for us. And my mother loves mangoes, but because she was diabetic, she wasn't allowed mangoes. And because I had reversed my diabetes and I was eating, I do a 10-day fast, 10-day feast actually, that I eat only mangoes and nothing else. So it could be 10 mangoes to 15 mangoes, whatever I want, as much as I want. And she wanted to do the same thing. And she asked Dr. Pramod, can I also eat mangoes? He said, yeah, you can eat mangoes if you eat what Mayavi is eating. You can go ahead and eat as many mangoes as you like, because she was allowed only half a mango a day. And just so that she could eat all those mangoes, she decided that she's going to go whole plant-based. And within 1.5 months, her count came down from 66,000 to 8,100. And she also had a lung condition, which is reversed now. And she's able to climb up 2 floors, and she's able to walk and do everything that she wasn't able to do. So this was something that everybody in the family wanted to do. I was talking to a few of you, and everybody said it's so difficult to get people to follow this kind of a lifestyle. Actually, I used to get very excited initially, and I used to tell my mom or my mother-in-law and father-in-law, this is not good for you, don't have it, this will happen, this will happen. And this is how, the cow's milk is taken out, and I showed them the videos and PETA videos and everything, but they didn't seem to kind of feel moved at all. At some point, my husband said, I think you better keep quiet. Please don't talk about what is good and what is not good and what it does to the cows and whatever. Please don't say anything. And I think it was good that I listened to him. I continued to follow this kind of a lifestyle. At some point, my father-in-law said, your salad looks very nice. I think even I'm going to try a little bit. And then your pizza is looking good. I'm going to try that. And slowly, he started having it, and I would just give him that little bit. I refused to share and make for him the whole portion. And slowly, everybody started having it. And I feel so good that my whole family now is on a whole food plant-based diet. And all their diseases are reversed. My mother-in-law couldn't walk because she had knee issues. She's lost some weight, and she's feeling better, and she's feeling healthier. And she's doing everything that she couldn't do earlier. So in general, everything kind of started falling in place with this kind of a diet. Now, I'll just kind of, I think most of you might know about the whole food plant-based diet, but basically it is no animal products, no processed products, everything is whole, and I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. So that's like fresh energy foods, and not so much of processed. So with all those things, I have reversed a whole lot of my diseases. I haven't even had as much as a cold or a cough. Even if I do get like a sniffle, I just have some orange juice, or I have some lime shots, and I'm fine. So I think it's just the way the body reacts to this kind of whole plant-based food that we can just reverse almost any disease. I have some friends who have also reversed acute body pains and rheumatoid arthritis and all that. So I help people to do this also. And I also love to eat. I mean, I love my food. And there was a time when I used to feel, my God, if I'm going to turn vegan, how am I going to enjoy all these things? Over here in London, you get everything at the store. Everything is ready, and you get a whole lot of cheese in the free-from sections, and butters and cookies and everything. Back home, we have to make our own, and we don't get all these cheeses that you have here. But so they're not whole food. Yeah, they're not whole food, but at least once in a while, if you want to, you can at least have some. But the whole foods we make at home on our own. And because I myself felt so good, I trained with Dr. Nandita Shah and understood how this whole thing works. And now I help other people to do this. Back home, my husband and I started a catering service, and we also have a tiffin service. In Mumbai, we have the tiffin dabbawala service, where the people come and pick up the tiffin and deliver it to your place. So we have a tiffin service all through Mumbai, where we send out whole food plant-based tiffins. And we also have a kitchen where we make different types of crackers and snacks. A lot of Indian kind of snacks and crackers that we do. And besides that, I teach how to make this kind of food all over the country, and also I wherever I go. So because I was coming here, I spoke to Brian, and I'd be happy to show you a few things how to make. Today we are going to make Shrikhand. Would you like to ask any questions about anything? Sure.
I know there are a lot of different dietary traditions and backgrounds in India, especially in a cosmopolitan place like Mumbai. What was your own dietary background before you became vegan?
I was a vegetarian, basically. My husband was a big meat eater. He's now vegan too since the last 3 years. And so it was basically vegetarian food in the family. And I'm from from Gujarat in India. And so we have our very simple dal, rice kind of food. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah.
And how did you persuade your family to go vegan? Because I've been trying for years
Yeah.
without any success.
So I think what I did is I continued to do what I wanted to do, because in a lot of families, a lot of people feel, forget it, I'm not going to say anything to you. And I think you just have to understand, at least this is what I figured, that we just have to understand that even I wasn't a vegan. And it takes time, and sometimes, like I said, since it's a part of our journey, spiritual journey, it will happen when it's supposed to happen. There's no point in, I mean, they're all pre-vegans. Like Dr. Bill Tuttle calls them, no? They're all pre-vegans. They will become someday. And from example, if they see you feeling healthier, if they see you feeling more relaxed, compassionate, loving, gentle, someday they will also do it. Yeah.
Yes, you said that you were advised not to tell your family about the ins and outs of the dairy industry, what they do to the cows and they do to the calves. Now they've gone vegan, can you talk to them about the dairy industry?
Yes, of course. Now they tell other people about the dairy industry. So when somebody comes over, my father-in-law wants to show the video, or the PETA video of the Indian dairy industry. And he tells them not to consume dairy.
Do you say of the Indian dairy industry?
Yeah, we have a PETA video of the Indian dairy industry.
And that's on PETA website?
Yes,
right.
it is on the PETA site. Yes.
PETA India?
Yeah,
Okay.
PETA India. So, I'll just take this one.
So the major change you made into your diet was to cut out foods from cows, yeah? That was the big change, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. But you're eating a whole food vegetarian diet before?
No, I wasn't eating a whole food vegetarian diet. We used to have a lot of oil,
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of fried stuff,
Right.
which now we've changed. I figured out how to make all those things like samosas and pakoras, the fritters, vegetable fritters and onion fritters and all these things. We figured how to make it without oil, so that my in-laws or my husband and all, they don't miss all these foods. And we make everything without oil. Of course, we used to consume a lot of sugar, and now we don't get milk in the house, we don't get sugar in the house, we don't get oil in the house. So there is no sugar. We substitute sugar with dates or raisins, or you get dry dates. I don't know what they're called here, but we call them kharik. What are they called? Kharik? Okay. So we just powder the dry dates, cut them into pieces and powder them, and use that in place of sugar. Yeah? Yeah?
When somebody says to you, oh well, cows are sacred and they think they need to drink the milk because it's part of the spirituality. How do you
If 1,008 cows gave only that much milk, you can imagine that it doesn't. Cows are not giving milk by the liters like they're now. Yeah, now we are doing factory farming. In those days, they didn't do it. And at the same time, if cows are sacred, we have no business to steal their milk. And actually, there are a few religious leaders who are now convinced, and they are now telling, we organize talks, demos, film screenings, potlucks, so that people can, come and join. Of course, we try to get more non-vegans so that they can be exposed. Of course, it's wonderful for vegans to meet, but also we try and get. So if I'm going to invite a couple of friends of mine who are non-vegan, so that they can also come for the talk or come for the film screening and understand what it is about. But it is catching on really, really fast now, all over the country, all over India. Yeah. Yes. Okay. You want to finish?
How receptive do you think the population is? Because in the Sanata Dharma, in the Hindu tradition, in the scriptures, it is prescribed that you can drink milk and cheese and honey. How open do you think people is towards this message?
I think one of the things is that the moment they realize that their health is getting better, they start doing it. For me, I feel health is what I started with, but actually it is more when you go in for the compassion for the animals is when it becomes really strong. Otherwise, it's okay. I think as humans, we don't care about our own selves a lot of times. We can allow ourselves to be abused in terms of eating the wrong stuff or whatever. But for me, it happened that day when I couldn't stop crying. And at that point, this whole thing, a vision in my mind was that I've just delivered my baby and somebody is just yanking her from her hair and just taking her away in front of me, and I know she's not going to live. And I'd want to kill to save my child. And then they just have some monkey on my breast and take my milk. I just couldn't handle that. I said, this is it. I mean, I can't deal with this that, for so long I've been having milk or dairy or whatever. But that was the point where, and people do realize it once when they start with health initially, but then they do realize that it's something more than just health. And I think even if you do the vegan whole food plant-based diet just for a couple of months, and then even after that when people go back onto having dairy, they have a lot of other reactions. And I know so many people who've given up dairy completely and become vegan after that. Yeah, I think she wanted to ask. Yeah.
Do you eat lots of raw foods?
Do bhajis? Okay, so what we do is we steam the vegetables. You cut them and steam them, and you do the tadka. Is that the tempering?
the batter?
She means pakora.
Oh, you mean the pakoras? Okay. Onion bhajis. Okay. So for the onion bhajis, we take onions. We put some besan, is chickpea flour.
Yes.
And then we put green chilies and coriander and what is ajwain called? Caraway seeds. Yeah, and salt and red chilies if you want to. And you have the idli steamer. Yeah,
Steamer, yeah.
Steamer. So we just steam those like idlis. You just take a little cluster of the mixture and steam it, and then put it in the oven. After they're steamed, you put them in the oven, and they are delicious. You won't even mind them. I mean, and because there's no,
So I think the mixture must be quite thick. It can't be sloppy.
it can't be sloppy. So what you do is you cut the onions, and I usually put a little bit of spinach and some cabbage and some grated carrots, and sometimes the green bell pepper, finely chopped into juliennes, and put a little salt on it and rub the salt in, and then just add a little bit of chickpea flour. So it has to be dryish, so that it will have, you know, those strands sticking out and become crisp later. Yeah? Sure.
Your story is impressive. Thanks for sharing. I was just wondering about the volume and the frequency. What volume of food do you eat, and how frequent do you eat?
I eat 3 meals a day, usually, and I mean, I could eat like, say, 6 oranges. That would be breakfast, or 3 bananas, 4 bananas, depending on how hungry I am. And then the salad would be a big bowl of salad. So actually, you eat till you're full. That's it. When you eat this kind of food, you feel satisfied, and then you stop, and you can eat as much as you want. Because when you're giving your body the natural food, nutrition, it will on its own tell you, now I've had enough. Actually, I used to also have something called leptin resistance. Anybody knows about that? No? Yeah? So leptin resistance is when your stomach is not sending messages to your brain that you're full. So when I started with Dr. Pramod, he said for breakfast you can have, he used to tell me to have any kind of sprouts. So first thing is a smoothie in the morning, a green smoothie, which is any fruit and any green. But he said, initially when I started, he said he wanted me to eat any form of sprouts. And we make these sprout pancakes in India. So he said, you can have sprout pancakes. And I said, how many can I have? You know, usually the dietitian, I always had a weight issue. So my whoever I went to would say 2 chapatis or 2 those pancakes or whatever. He said, eat as many as you want. And I had to tell him, you have no idea. I can finish off 8 to 10 of those. He said, go ahead and have it. And that's when he told me that I probably have leptin resistance. And once I went on this diet, it just settled. And now I can't have more than 2 or 3 pancakes at a time.
Well, how do you make the pancakes? With rice flour or?
No, with sprouts. So you soak the beans in the night, grind them in the morning to a thickish consistency, put a little salt and jeera, cumin seeds, and green chilies and ginger if you like, paste, and make a pancake. That's it. Yeah.
I was going to say, if you're giving talks in England and you say sprouts, some people will be thinking of a thing called Brussels sprouts.
No, these are
Better say
bean sprouts.
Yeah.
Bean sprouts. Sorry.
The question I was going after that, how do you get your vitamin B12? Do you, is that amongst the vegans, do you say that make sure you get vitamin B12?
Yes. Actually, it's not only vegans, even non-vegans have a B12 deficiency. And now one of the new reasons for B12 deficiency is also the radiation from the mobile towers. So, yes. So now I've started keeping my phone outside my room to charge, because even while it is charging, it is emitting rays. And that can lower your B12. Yes. So B12 everybody has to take. I mean, because it's not available to us so easily. So we just take a methicobal tablet, depending on what your levels are. You just take that. I think he wanted to ask a question for a long time.
No, I was just wondering, so you're on an amazing whole food plant-based diet, and you reverse diseases, and obviously you're not going to go back to non-vegan, but would you, maybe, I don't think you would actually, but if someone were to remain vegan but not maybe as strict a whole food plant-based diet, but eat a bit of, mixing, start with introducing vegan chunk food a little bit, what's your opinion?
So I totally have no issue with that, because there are certain foods that we've grown up eating, like the pani puri. How many of you know what pani puri is? Okay, pani puri is a very typical Indian snack. So they're little balls of wheat flour. They're kind of fried into little balls, and we stuff them with bean sprouts and, I'm sorry, my mouth is watering. So we stuff them with bean sprouts and potatoes, and put some tamarind and tamarind and date chutney in it, and then there's a spicy mint water. It's actually just water with a lot of green chilies and salt and mint, yeah? And we put it in that, and you just pop that whole little ball into your mouth, and it just explodes. And that is one thing that I can't give up. Of course, I've figured out a wheat pani puri that can be baked. So we bake those pani puris, but once in a while, especially when I go for a movie, I want my samosa. And that's okay. That's like not every day. That's once in a while. Or if I've gone to somebody's house or something like that, I'm very clear that I will not have dairy, but a little bit fried or something once in a while is okay.
So is that, if you reverse the disease, I think, am I right in saying that, okay, although you remain vegan, but it's not just about being just vegan, you have to maintain this whole food plant-based to keep the
Yes.
disease away, otherwise if you start eating a little bit unhealthy, even though it's vegan,
Yes.
but unhealthy, the disease could still come back.
So it depends on how much you go into that. I know a lot of people who have been plant-based, but they have, they eat a lot of fried and they eat a lot of processed, which is not done. Along with it, you have to do, so if I have a samosa, maybe I'll go for a longer walk the next day. Or the next meal will be a big salad. So you can adjust it a little bit. I mean, you can't deprive yourself completely of all these things. So once in a while, you can have that. Of course, dairy and all is absolutely not allowed, but once in a while, if you have this, it's okay. Okay.
I know like lots of people who are ill, they cannot fast, but people who are not ill, what's the, like fasting versus eating every day, like you know, like as a chef, you're always working, eating, and you're always eating food. So they don't like if you fast for it, is it better when you consume?
So I personally, Nishma, I fast on Ekadashis, which comes every 15 days. That's the 11th day of the moon. Nothing to do with religious or whatever, but it's just simple and easy to figure out 2 days in a month that I am on a water fast. So yesterday was Ekadashi and I had nothing except water the whole day. For like 36 hours, you just have water. Besides that, I normally usually fast at least once a week. And I could never fast earlier. I could never fast. I couldn't even do a whole day with just fruit. And just yesterday, my son-in-law asked me, he said, how do you manage to do this, Mate? I mean, I can't believe that somebody can live on just water for one day. I said, one day? I've done even more than one day. And I think it's just in the mind. You just decide, just as you decided that you don't want to have any animal products, you decide that today I won't eat at all. I'll just drink water. And you'll be able to do it. And I've run 10 kilometers on day 1 of my fast, and then I've run again another 5 kilometers on the day 2 of my fast, and I've had no problem at all. So it is something which is in the mind, and of course I even if I'm in the kitchen the whole time, I rarely even taste my food. I get somebody else to taste it, because otherwise I would be eating all the time. So I make it very, very clear that it will be 3 proper meals. Yeah? Yes.
Something I'd recommend, if you're advising someone to fast and they're sort of resistant against it, because you get a funny feeling in your stomach. That funny feeling in your stomach is actually something good. What it means is your body's started the cleaning out process.
Yes.
So rather than thinking, oh gosh, that funny feeling in my stomach, you think, great, it's clearing out all the gunk and the grease and stuff which shouldn't be there. So that makes it easier for them to fast. They associate that, instead of being something negative, it's something positive.
Yes. So actually, on the days of the fast, most people will get a slight cold. A lot of people get feverish. But that is our body's way of eliminating and detoxifying. So we don't need to get worried about that. And actually this fasting thing is also to do with, our bodies are made of 5 elements: ether, sun, air, water and earth. So we need to also, and all these are our food. So we have to feast on ether also, which is fasting. As much as we feast on, we have to be in the sun as much as we can, so that we can get our vitamin D. Of course, it's not always possible. Even in Mumbai, it's not always possible to completely go nude and get the sun, because that is when you will actually get D3. With just our hands or legs open, it's not enough. And then there is the air. So we have to get fresh air, and we have to be outdoors and do our exercise or whatever we do. We have to then also have our water through the bioavailable water in fruits and vegetables, preferably, so that you don't have to drink water. Of course, you can drink. If you're thirsty, please drink water. But ideally, the water for our body is the best if it comes from fruits and vegetables. And then, of course, the soil gives us all the beautiful vegetables and fruits and everything, and we get that. Yeah.
Can I just clarify, you talked about air and you talked about ether. So are they the same thing? Do you mean the same thing?
No, air and ether are not the same thing.
So what is ether? What do you mean by
ether? Is the subtler energy and subtler air, if you call it, but it's not air. Air is the air that you're breathing. And the subtler the foods, so the first 3, the ether, sunshine and air, in that order, are what are the best for us. And our bodies are also made of that. So our stomachs also have to have that little bit of air there inside. We shouldn't be stuffing ourselves so much that there's no place for any air to move and digest our food. Of course, that's a whole new and a whole different theory, and if any of you want to look up, you can check up Natural Hygiene and Nature Cure. Yeah, that's.
Just want to understand about the ether. How do you get the ether?
So when you fast, you get your energies. You cleanse out your subtle negative stuff from your system and get the new energies. Yeah? Okay.
I was just interested in your mango-only diet.
Yes.
And perhaps you could talk a bit more about that and what it's like and
Sure.
what the benefits are.
So, one of the most important things that I forgot to mention is that we eat only organic food, because when you're eating copious amounts of fruits and vegetables, you want to eat organic. You don't want to have so much of pesticides and all that coming in. The mango thing, we do it in the month of May. I normally do it in the month of May when the mangoes are at the peak. And when there are enough mangoes and when they're a little more reasonable, that we can have so many mangoes every single day, that I do the feast for 10 days. So in the morning is when I have the mango and mint or spinach or whatever smoothie. And that is made from, say, 3 mangoes or 4 mangoes and a bunch of mint and 2-3 glasses of water. So that will be my breakfast. And then for lunch, I'll just slice mangoes and have those 6, 5, 4, whatever, as hungry as I am. I mean, I just keep cutting them and eating them. And then it's the same thing for dinner. And in between, if I feel hungry, I'll have. And most, not most, all the times that I've done it in the last 4 years, I lose about 4 kilos in those 10 days. And my sugars go down further. Like normally they're about 90 to 100, they go down to 80 also. So, and it's a total cleanse that you go through. There's one more question there.
Is that because you eat mono fruit? That's why you lose more weight?
Sorry?
Is it because you're doing mono fruit you're losing weight?
You're losing weight because you're doing mono fruit, one. You're doing fruit, period. If you just go on a raw fruit diet, you'll lose weight. Sorry.
I wanted to ask about your asthma. So, how soon did you see that reduce, and is there anything in particular you could recommend to help asthma?
Yeah, so my asthma started with an allergy initially from dust. And then I had 2 patches of eczema on my feet, and they would kind of be either asthma or eczema. For that, I feel within about 2 months, my patch stopped itching. And then it just started clearing up completely. And the asthma, I figured, stopped because I wasn't having any dairy, that it just kind of slowly, I figured that I could walk faster. Where I couldn't even walk 100 meters, I started walking, I started walking with just 100 meters every day. So I would start with 100 meters and then just go on to a little more and a little more. Every day, like every 3rd, 4th day, I'd increase it by 100 meters. And I found that I could walk that. I started walking it even faster. 7 kilometers in an hour I started doing. So it was almost like jogging it. So just the whole food plant-based diet, that's it. I think just that. And I also believe that when you don't kill animals, or when you don't take something that's not yours, mentally and emotionally there was that peace. I don't know, I feel that also played a part in the asthma and eczema. There was no itching and there was no irritation generally. So, yeah. Okay.
When you're not fasting, how long do you leave between your last meal of one day and your first meal?
Yeah, so the last meal normally is, I finish my last meal latest between 7:30 and 8. That is the latest. Normally I prefer to finish my dinner by 6:30, and then I won't eat the next whole day and the night, and then I'll eat at about 9 or 10 in the morning. You wanted to ask, yeah?
Vegetarian. India's been considered like the home or the origin of vegetarianism. Do you know, is vegetarian a part of Hinduism? So I've met Tamil Hindus who are completely meat eaters.
So
and
there
somebody
is-
like Gandhi was I think it was vegan at some point.
Yes.
Do you know any?
So
is it
actually,
religion?
vegetarianism is what Hinduism allows, and I feel from what I understand, the way people drank milk earlier, like my own mum says that they had 2 cows, and in spite of that, they didn't get milk every day. Or they got a small glass of milk, say 3 times a week or something like that, even with 2 cows. So it wasn't the way we used to eat or consume dairy. Now, even Hindus were not consuming so much dairy. And if you see a traditional, typical South Indian diet or any Indian diet is by default vegan. It's only that there is that little element that has now become so big that they're having so much more milk than they ever had before, because it is so easily available, because the dairy industry, I mean, it's a factory farm, so there's no stopping how much milk will be available to you.
What about meat though?
Meat, of course, is Hinduism doesn't allow meat, but there are some sections. So the Kshatriyas, the warrior clan, is allowed to eat meat, because apparently they have to get the energy and whatever to
Which is a
fight.
nonsense, yeah.
Well, in the epic, the Mahabharata, which I've been reading a version of, all the warriors, the warrior class, Kshatriya,
Yes.
they're all going out hunting.
Yes.
So they're not, no instance of vegan.
Yeah, so it's allowed for the Kshatriyas, the kings and the warriors are allowed to have meat. The Brahmins don't have meat at all. They don't even consume onions and garlic, because it's not sattvic. So they normally have a sattvic meal, and the rest eat the Shudras. If you know the Brahmins and the Shudras, so the Shudras eat everything. It doesn't matter, so they eat everything, and the Kshatriyas eat everything. So there are the Brahmins and the Vaishyas that don't eat meat.
So what percentage traditionally of people in India would be like vegetarian?
I would think, say 60% would be vegetarian, but now that has changed.
Right.
Now that has changed to
Because
many
of the
more
adoption of
being.
Western
Yes,
habits.
yes.
Question for you, just say this. You've got 35 minutes, by the way.
Sorry?
You've got 35 minutes, but I've got a question.
Okay, so I think we can.
And then you've got 35 minutes left.
Okay.
But there's a question. For somebody who is already diabetic, would you recommend to them having as much fruit as you've been eating? You've already reversed your diabetes, but if someone's got diabetes at the moment, because they tell us that people who are diabetic should be avoiding sugar.
Yes.
And so having more fruit.
But fruit sugar, no, fruit sugar is okay as far as you're completely on a whole food plant-based diet. You cannot have a huge fruit meal and have pizzas made out of refined flour or with milk, cheese or whatever. You have to be then on a whole food plant-based diet. And of course, initially while you're reversing, you can have more veggies and less fruit if you feel that
So this is what makes mangoes quite precious, really, because they're full of vitamins and minerals.
Yes, yes.
Which
Yes.
shallower grown fruit wouldn't have.
I think all fruits have.
Well, no, mangoes are particularly they're
Higher.
known as the king of the fruits.
Yes.
Unless, of course, you eat durian.
Yeah, but of course then mangoes are only very seasonal. So I try and eat as many mangoes for the whole year, because they also say that if you eat enough mangoes in the season, you've got enough for the rest of the year.
But I wouldn't say it's about all fruit, because Chinese gooseberries and things are grown on vines and they don't have deep roots.
Well, I feel we eat fruit that is seasonal. That is another very important thing, to eat seasonal, regional. We get kiwis now in India, which are imported from New Zealand. But I'm not a big one on that. I'd rather eat the Indian orange, the Indian apples, the Indian mangoes, the Indian stuff which grows within. Why also increase the food miles? Okay, once in a while is okay, but even the environment is important. So.
But you wouldn't be able to eat mangoes in this country then, would you? Because they're all imported.
Come to India. Make a trip to India in the month of April or May, and you'll get as many mangoes as you like. Yeah, Shalmi.
What about for babies and children?
Babies and children, I know at least 4 vegan babies, infants, and as they've been growing up, now one of them is about 4 and he's doing brilliantly. So most of the children do very well, and in fact, children on their own instinctively will eat the right food. It's us, we give them or show them the wrong stuff to eat. Instinctively you'll eat the right thing as a child. Yeah?
I was going to ask, is it easy to find organic food in India?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. We get organic fruits, vegetables, nuts, sprouts, beans, rice, wheat, everything. A lot of farmers are now switching over to growing organic food, and now there are collectives that help these organic farmers to come together and make bigger farms, or in their farms, because even the water seepage and the airborne pesticides and all that is an issue. But now they are getting them to closer together and helping them to, so we give them seeds and give them money to buy the instruments and all that, so it is a big movement now, and a lot of people like us have started growing on their farms. So then they just bring it to the farmers market. We have a lot of farmers markets in Mumbai, in one of which we take part every Sunday, and we cook idlis and pizzas and whole lot of things and take them to the market and sell them, and we use only organic ingredients. So our tiffin service is a dairy free, oil free, processed sugar free, gluten free mostly, and organic service. Yeah? Yes. I'm not able to hear you, I'm sorry.
Really a rather good thing, isn't it? But it can, the most thing you do is one gets a cold, whatever, but on the whole it clears one up.
Yes.
In 2 days' time I'll be fasting for half of the festival. So it's very good, of course. The thing is, mangoes are extremely healthy.
Yes.
Yeah, staying with mangoes, when I eat a mango, I eat the skin as well. Do you think that's good or bad to eat? And the other thing is, what about, you say there's only small mango seeds in India. Would you eat
like that? But if you feel that you really love it so much and you get these freeze-dried mangoes or something, once in a while, I don't see why you can't have it. Yeah? Yeah.
I've also got a mango question. So was just wondering, because you have organic mangoes, so there's no pesticide, nothing. I have seen insects in mangoes, and I was just wondering, do you have this problem where there are a lot of insects?
Food, it means it is good, worthy of eating.
What do you do? How do you
Yeah. Otherwise, actually, if you see any food that does not have insects, especially the rice, it has this red bug, so cold that you don't have bugs. But in India, where the temperatures are between 35 and 37, we have these red bugs, and we actually look for those red bugs, because if the bug is going to eat, so a smoothie can be any fruit, any pulpy fruit ideally. So bananas, papayas, mangoes, chicus, pears, apples, and you add a green to it. So either you add, so I usually add one non-flavored green, like a spinach or the green sorrel. You get a green sorrel here, the khatta? No? Okay. So we have a whole lot of different greens which don't particularly have a flavor like mint or coriander. So I add one of those, so coriander or mint or basil or any of these herby kind of greens. You can use kale instead of spinach. And spinach is to be used only twice a week, not more than that, because it's a very, very potent green, and you don't want to overdo on it. It also has a lot of, it's high in oxalates, and you don't want to overdo your oxalates, because a lot of people get kidney stones because of that. So I would have that, and then there would be, on a Sunday, I might have a bean-based breakfast. If I'm feeling hungry at about 11 o'clock or something, I'll have a pancake or just bean sprouts with some salad in it. For lunch, I said it's a big salad. I normally avoid too much nuts, but a little bit dressing or a peanut butter dressing or something like that to make it more interesting. Or even what really works in salads is green chutneys. So you can make it with coriander and green chilies and garlic, or just green chilies, coriander and ginger, or whatever you like, lemon and salt, and make that as a dressing. And then I usually have dinner would be anything actually. I mean, there are days when we have ragda patties, which is like matra, so that is dried peas. It's a curry made of dried peas and potato cutlets. Or you can have roti sabji or khichdi, any of these, whatever you like.
What about brown rice? Do you eat that?
Brown rice. We eat brown rice. We don't have the refined white rice, because the same amount of quantity. So if you eat half a cup of brown rice, you'll feel full.
Yeah.
Whereas when you eat white rice, you'll eat 1.5 cups and still not feel full. So everything is whole. Whatever is whole is good.
Are there any recipe books or books on general health that you would recommend?
There is a whole food plant-based recipe book by Nandini Gulati. It's called the Healthy Vegan Cookbook, I think. It's called the Healthy Vegan Cookbook. And you can refer to that. There are a whole lot of recipes available online. Once you figure out how to do the substitution, you can almost make everything yourself.
Yeah. Is it Indian based, that one, the Healthy Vegan Cookbook?
No. It has food from all over the world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just clarify the fasting. Once a month you water fast from dinner to breakfast the day after, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you fast once a week, you said something?
No, so there are 2 days which are the 11th day of the moon.
I see.
So the waxing moon and the waning
Yeah. So
11th
it's just
day of
once
the
a
moon.
month you fast.
So those are 2.
Oh, you do
And
that?
then I do another 1 day in a week. So I fast 4 days in a month.
4 days in a month, yeah.
Yeah. So once a week, generally.
Once a week for a
Once
day.
a week.
Is
For
that
the
from
whole
dinner to
Yes.
dinner?
To the next, no. The third morning you have
Yeah.
breakfast.
Yeah.
And it's very important to break your fast properly, because you don't want to go and eat a burger or something so heavy. So you can break your fast with coconut water. Over here I figured it's not so easy to get coconut water, but then you can go on some fruits or something, you know, the juicy watery kind of fruits to begin with, and then have for lunch have some salads, and then eat a cooked meal in the evening. Yeah.
Can we try the Shrikhand?
I think I should start showing you the Shrikhand. You want to just...
Yeah, so
Does it-
in my case for fasting, I fast for 24 hours a week.
Hmm.
So if I don't eat now, then I will eat tomorrow or dinner. And I usually eat, like every day, just rice, pasta, potatoes, sweet potatoes, or starch diet. You advise me not to have a big plate of rice, but just a piece of fruit with tea or something like that.
When you're breaking fast, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
About the breaking the fast?
Yeah. Not
Yes.
have a lot of rice, but instead.
Yeah, so instead of rice, I would suggest you have some fruits or salads, because the body is still in a mode of fasting and in the mode of throwing out toxins. So if we put in fruits, we'll help the body to throw out more toxins as much as possible.
A couple of hours later, I can have my.
You can have, yes, of course, you can have a cooked meal after a few hours. Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that dried fruits are going to be higher in sugar. If you are diabetic, then you have to.
Dried fruits, anyways, you have it as an emergency. That is why people used to dry fruit. Because that would be something that you can bread in Mumbai, and that also I don't eat much. So bread is bread would be roti, the flat bread, if at all, not the white flour bread.
And anything like oatmeal, porridge?
You can have oatmeal porridge once in a while, but instead of the quick cooking oats or whatever, maybe the steel cut oats or the what are the pressed rolled oats. Rolled oats are better. Nowadays, what we do is we cook millets. Do you get whole millets here? Foxtail millets and proso millets and all these. So you can just cook those and have that with your coconut milk and a little bit of date paste or something to sweeten it. Or you can just add some raisins into it, a handful of raisins. So, I mean, I normally don't have oats really, not much.
You're about 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I'm quickly going to show you all how to do the Shrikhand. Now for the Shrikhand, we are going to, I'll just tell you what all I'm going to put into it. I had soaked a cup of cashews.
Just wondering, maybe a lot of people might not be familiar with what Shrikhand is.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is. So Shrikhand is made by hanging curd. Traditionally, you make a curd out of milk and hang it, and it becomes really hard and kind of without any water at all, and it's creamy. And you just blend it and put a lot of sugar in it to sweeten it, and then you put some almonds and pistachios, yeah, and cardamom. So we don't use dairy. I have soaked cashews, 1 cup of cashew, and with the minimum water, blended it after 12 hours. So I soaked it last night, and I blended it in the morning, say in the afternoon around 11:30, 12, yeah. And 2 cups of raisins, which were also soaked for 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours, and then blended, yeah, into a fine paste. And then there is cardamom powder, and here I have saffron, and there are pistachios and almonds. Slivered pistachios and almonds. And these pistachios, I did not have the plain pistachios, so I had the ones with the shells which are salty. So I soaked those, removed the skin, and I've cut them, and I've kind of slivered them. Okay? So all we are going to do is just mix everything.
How do you get a tangy taste, which you normally get with
The
yogurt?
tangy taste comes from
okay.
the raisins.
Right.
Yeah, they're tangy enough. If your raisins are too sweet, you can just add a little bit of lemon juice.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just going to mix everything into this. So this is one of the very popular Gujarati desserts. This is had with puris. You all have like a chole bhatura, that kind of a thing. So the measurements are very simple. 1 cup of cashews and 2 cups of course this is going to make quite a bit, and if you're going to have this, so we'll just mix all these. How many of you love desserts? No, love. Okay, I'm going to add some powdered cardamoms. And some of the slivered almonds and pistachios into this inside, and we'll leave some to decorate it. And the saffron. I'm going to leave some to just decorate on top.
Is the saffron just to give it colour, or is it?
Saffron gives a flavor also. So in the saffron, just take a big generous pinch in a small bowl and just put like 5-7 drops, a teaspoon of water, and leave it for a few hours. So it becomes that nice and orange. This saffron I picked up from Sainsbury, so I know it's available there. And of course the color of your raisins will change the color of the Shrikhand. Shrikhand traditionally is absolutely white because it has sugar and milk. Ours has a little bit of color, but it tastes pretty good. So, and if it doesn't harm any animal, I'm happy to have this instead of that. There, the Shrikhand is ready. So all you have to do is just soak and just sprinkle some of this. We have a lot of these.